Have you ever noticed that the people who seem to have it all together, the ones who move through life with ease, confidence, and unstoppable momentum, aren't the ones talking the loudest? The truth is, life responds to energy, not words. And when you stop trying to impress, stop trying to prove, and stop seeking approval, something incredible happens. When you focus on yourself, or you silence the noise of the world and direct your energy inward, everything begins to shift. Doors open that you didn't even know existed. Opportunities show up without force. Relationships deepen naturally, and your life starts falling into place in ways that words could never capture. Today, I want to show you why silence is your superpower, why focusing on your growth is not negotiable, and how mastering this one approach can transform every area of your life. Because the moment you stop reacting to the world and start directing your inner world, that's when true power is unleashed. When you begin to understand that everything in your life is a reflection of what's happening inside of you, everything changes. Most people spend their energy looking outward, searching for validation, chasing approval, and reacting to the chaos around them. But the truth is, real power, real transformation begins within. Mastering your inner world is the foundation for creating an extraordinary life. It's about taking full responsibility for your emotions, your thoughts, and your energy. Imagine for a moment that your mind is a garden. Every thought is a seed. If you plant seeds of fear, doubt, and comparison, you will inevitably harvest stress, frustration, and mediocrity. But when you plant seeds of belief, focus, and purpose, your life begins to bloom with opportunity, clarity, and unstoppable momentum. Mastery of your inner world is not a one-time event. It's a daily commitment to cultivating the mental and emotional soil that supports your growth. It starts with awareness. You must become conscious of your internal dialogue. What are you telling yourself in moments of stress, challenge, or uncertainty? Are you feeding your mind with stories of limitation, or are you conscious, rewriting the narrative to one of power, resilience, and possibility? Awareness alone is transformative, because once you see the patterns in your thinking, you gain the power to change them. Next comes choice. Every moment, you have the opportunity to decide how you respond, what you focus on, and where you put your energy. You may not control what happens to you, but you always control how you respond. That is your power. When you choose to focus on your growth instead of distractions, on solutions instead of problems, on abundance instead of scarcity, you begin to operate from a place of strength rather than reaction. Emotion plays a critical role here. Your emotional state is your signal. When you feel anxious, frustrated, or overwhelmed, it's a sign that something inside needs attention. Perhaps a limiting belief, a fear, or a thought pattern that no longer serves you. By learning to manage your emotional state, you gain clarity and composure. You begin to respond to life from a place of wisdom, not instinctive reaction. Finally, action aligned with purpose solidifies this mastery. It's not enough to think positively or meditate daily. Your inner mastery shows up when your thoughts, emotions, and actions are all aligned with your highest vision. Every step you take from a centered, focused, and powerful inner world moves you closer to the life you desire. When you master your inner world first, the outer world begins to mirror that mastery. Doors open, relationships improve, and opportunities that once seemed distant start to flow naturally. Life doesn't have to be a struggle when you understand that the battle isn't out there. It's inside. Focus on yourself, cultivate your inner power, and watch as everything else falls seamlessly into place. In a world that constantly demands your attention, that pushes you to speak, prove, and perform, there's an incredible, often overlooked power in silence. Silence is not weakness. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is the space where clarity is born, where insight emerges, and where true strength is forged. Most people fill their lives with noise, social media, conversations, opinion, endless chatter because they fear what might happen if they stop talking. But it is precisely in those quiet moments that you discover who you really are, what you really want, and how you are truly going to get it. When you stay silent, you give yourself the gift of observation. You stop reacting to every stimulus, every drama, every opinion. You begin to see patterns, to notice opportunities that others miss, and to hear your own inner guidance above the noise. The people who achieve extraordinary results are always the loudest. They're the ones who know when to speak, when to act, and most importantly, when to pause. Silence sharpens your perception. It allows you to see the world as it is, not as you think it should be. And it allows you to see yourself as you are, not as the world tells you to be. Silence also gives you control over your energy. Every word you speak carries energy, and every conversation you enter consumes it. When you choose to remain silent strategically, you conserve your energy for what truly matters: your goals, your growth, your vision. You stop scattering your power on trivialities, petty conflicts, or the need to convince others of your worth. Instead, you channel that energy inward into reflection, learning, and preparation. That energy becomes your secret weapon, your source of magnetism, your ability to act decisively and effectively when the right moment arrives. Another profound benefit of silence is emotional clarity. When you are silent, you are no longer reacting impulsively to your feelings or to the behavior of others. You create space to process, to reflect, and to respond rather than react. In that space, decisions become deliberate. Actions become intentional. And you stop being tossed around by the storms of life. People who stay silent at the right times often command more respect, influence, and authority, not because they demand it, but because their presence communicates focus, power, and self-mastery. Finally, silence is the birthplace of wisdom. Every great leader, every influential thinker, every person who has transformed their life has understood this simple truth. The quieter you become, the more you hear. The quieter you become, the more clearly life reveals its answers. When you combine silence with self-focus, when you pair observation with inner growth, everything begins to align. Opportunities emerge, relationships deepen, and your path becomes unmistakably clear. When you embrace silence as a strategic practice, you stop reacting to the world and start responding from a place of strength. You realize that you don't need to explain, justify, or prove anything. The world moves into alignment with your energy, your focus, and your presence. The more silent you become, the more life speaks, and in that dialogue, everything falls perfectly into place. The reality is, the world doesn't respond to what you say. It responds to the energy you carry. Words are fleeting. They can be forgotten, misunderstood, or dismissed. But energy or presence, your intensity, your focus cannot be ignored. When you understand this, when you begin to harness the power of your energy, everything changes. People are drawn to energy, inspired by it, and moved by it in ways that words alone could never achieve. Energy is the invisible force that communicates more than language ever could. When you enter a room with focus, confidence, and purpose, people feel it immediately. They sense your clarity, your direction, and your power without a single word being spoken. Conversely, no amount of talking can compensate for low energy or indecision. You can say all the right things, but if your energy doesn't match, the impact is lost. Energy is the signal. Words are the noise. When you focus on cultivating your energy, everything you say and do carries weight, authority, and influence. The first step in mastering energy over words is self-awareness. You must know your state at every moment. How do you feel when you wake up? How do you feel when you step into challenges? Are you carrying fear, frustration, or distraction? Or are you filled with focus, clarity, and purpose? By becoming aware of your energy, you gain the ability to regulate it, to elevate it, and to direct it toward what truly matters. You stop letting circumstances dictate your state and instead command it with intention. Next comes alignment. Your energy must match your goals and intention. If you desire success, abundance, and influence, your energy must communicate strength, confidence, and commitment. Every action you take should be infused with this energy. The smallest gestures, how you walk, how you speak, how you engage with others, become amplified because they are charged with your internal power. Energy is contagious. When you elevate your state, you elevate everyone around you. You don't need to convince anyone verbally. They feel it and respond naturally. Energy over words also requires consistency. You can't just turn it on occasionally or rely on fleeting motivation. You must train your mind and body to maintain high energy states, to cultivate presence, and to act with unwavering focus. Practices like mindfulness, physical movement, visualization, and intentional reflection strengthen this capacity. Over time, your energy becomes your signature, a force that precedes you and opens doors before a single word is exchanged. Finally, energy amplifies results. The world aligns with those who carry the force of their intentions, not those who merely articulate them. When you focus on energy rather than words, you become unstoppable. Opportunities come more easily. Relationships deepen naturally. And your influence grows exponentially. People don't just hear you, they feel you. And in that feeling, they are moved, inspired, and compelled to act. The truth is simple. Talk less, focus more, and cultivate the energy that communicates your power. Actions rooted in energy always speak louder than words. When you master this, when your presence matches your purpose, everything you desire falls into place with effortless precision. One of the most powerful shifts you can make in life is to stop seeking approval from others. Most people spend their lives trying to earn validation from friends, family, colleagues, or even strangers on social media. They measure their worth by the applause, the likes, or the recognition they receive, but this is a trap. When your sense of value depends on others, you surrender your power, your clarity, and your freedom. True strength, true influence, and true fulfillment come when you detach from approval and anchor your self-worth within yourself. Detaching from approval begins with awareness. Notice how often your decisions are influenced by what others might think. Are you hesitating to pursue your dreams because someone might judge you? Are you speaking or acting to impress rather than to express your true self? Awareness is the first step. Because once you see the patterns, you can break them. You realize that living for others' approval is a form of self-limitation. It keeps you small, reactive, and distracted from the life you are capable of creating. The next step is embracing self-validation. Your worth is not determined by applause, likes, or external recognition. It is inherent. You are responsible for your own confidence, your own happiness, and your own sense of purpose. When you validate yourself, you free yourself from the constant pull of external opinions. You make decisions based on alignment with your goals, your values, and your vision, rather than on what others might think or say. This creates a sense of internal power that cannot be shaken by criticism, comparison, or rejection. Detaching from approval also requires courage. It is uncomfortable at first because the world reinforces the habit of seeking validation. You may feel exposed or vulnerable when you step into your own authority and stop seeking permission. But this discomfort is a signal that growth is happening. Every time you choose your own path, speak your truth, or pursue your goals without needing anyone's approval, you strengthen your inner compass and reinforce your freedom. Another critical aspect is trusting the process. When you stop chasing validation, life begins to respond differently. Opportunities align, relationships become authentic, and your influence grows naturally, not because you're trying to impress, but because your energy, focus, and integrity resonate at a higher level. People are drawn to those who are self-assured, authentic, and purpose-driven. Approval becomes irrelevant because you no longer need it to feel complete or capable. Finally, detaching from approval cultivates freedom. You can pursue your vision without distraction, act with confidence without hesitation, and create the life you desire without compromise. Your energy is no longer fragmented by fear of judgment. It flows fully into your growth, your impact, and your results. The moment you let go of the need for approval, you experience a profound liberation. Life begins to unfold effortlessly. Doors open naturally, and everything starts falling into place because your energy is aligned with your purpose, not with the expectations of others. Growth is not instantaneous. It is not a single moment of revelation or a sudden breakthrough. True growth is a process, a journey of consistent effort, reflection, and refinement. Yet most people give up too soon because they expect immediate results. They want success to happen overnight, recognition to arrive instantly, and transformation to be obvious from day one. But life doesn't work that way. The key to mastery, fulfillment, and a life that falls into place is to trust the process of growth, to commit to it, and to understand that every small step compounds into massive results over time. Trusting the process begins with patience. When you are focused on your personal evolution, it's easy to become frustrated with obstacles, setbacks, or slow progress. But every challenge you encounter, every difficulty you face, is an essential part of your growth. These moments are not punishments. They are lessons, feedback, and opportunities to build resilience. Just like a seed does not sprout instantly, the effort you put into improving yourself, developing your skills, and refining your mindset takes time to bear fruit. Patience allows you to stay committed even when the results aren't immediately visible. Consistency is another pillar of trusting the process. Growth doesn't come from occasional bursts of effort. It comes from persistent, disciplined action. Every habit you build, every skill you practice, every positive thought you nurture adds up. Even small, seemingly insignificant actions, when compounded over weeks, months, and years, create monumental transformation. Trusting the process means showing up daily, even when motivation is low, even when results feel distant, because you understand that your consistent effort is creating a foundation for your future success. Equally important is embracing the unknown. The process of growth is unpredictable. You may encounter detours, delays, or unexpected challenges along the way. Trusting the process doesn't mean you have all the answers. It means you have faith in your ability to navigate uncertainty, adapt, and keep moving forward. It means knowing that every experience, whether positive or negative, contributes to your learning, your strength, and your eventual breakthroughs. Trust also comes from focusing on what you can control. You cannot force outcomes or dictate the timing of life's events, but you can control your actions, your mindset, and your energy by concentrating on these elements. You align yourself with growth and opportunity, allowing life to unfold naturally around your consistent effort. This alignment creates momentum, and momentum, once established, carries you forward in ways that feel effortless and inevitable. Finally, trusting the process requires belief in yourself. You must believe that your effort matters, that your dedication is building something meaningful, and that your future self will thank you for the discipline you practice today. Growth is rarely glamorous or immediate, but the rewards are profound clarity, confidence, fulfillment, and the natural alignment of life's opportunities. When you trust the process of growth, you stop forcing outcomes, stop worrying about timelines, and stop comparing yourself to others. You focus on becoming the best version of yourself every single day. And when you do that, when you commit to your growth, embrace the journey, and remain consistent, life responds. Doors open, relationships deepen, opportunities appear, and everything begins to fall into place with a sense of ease and inevitability to your growth. And when you stay silent in a world full of noise, life begins to respond in ways you never imagined. The world doesn't reward the loudest voice or the fastest talker. It rewards clarity, energy, and consistent action. Your presence, your discipline, and your unwavering focus send signals that attract opportunity, influence, and abundance. Remember, mastery begins within. When you take control of your inner world, regulate your energy, detach from approval, and trust the process of growth, everything else starts to align naturally. Life doesn't need to be forced. It doesn't need to be argued for or chased. When you become the person who is fully committed to your purpose, fully present in your journey, and fully in control of your energy, the universe begins to move with you, not against you. So today, make the choice to focus on yourself. Stay silent when it matters. Elevate your energy. Let go of the need for validation. And trust that every step you take in alignment with your growth is building a life that is unstoppable, effortless, and extraordinary. The most powerful thing you can do is to become a force of focus, discipline, and inner strength. Because when you do, everything else, relationships, opportunities, success falls perfectly into place. Stay committed, stay silent, and watch your life transform in ways beyond your imagination.